All right, boys and girls, we're going to spend some time next week on algebraic expressions, so I thought it was appropriate to review some algebra for you. Um, I, I wanted to just go with some simple algebraic problems and substituting the variable for a value. So in this expression, it says 10 minus y when y equals 8. Oh, by the way, you might want to take notes now, take a pause, put these on there on your notes in your notebook, and come back when you're ready. Because hopefully, as I've said 1,000 times before, when you're trying to do it yourself and you're using your own brain power and you're using your own thoughts, that's when you learn the most. If you're just looking at what I'm doing and passively writing it down while I write it down, you're not learning as much. So, um, so try to do as many as you can by yourself. Go farther than I'm showing you at the time. Right? But I'm going to continue now. I'll remind you to pause several times. Um, but I'm going to start solving. So 10 minus y when y equals 8. So I'm simply going to substitute the value that I was told, y equals 8. So I'm going to substitute y for 8. Now I'm going to say 10 minus 8 equals 2. So now it's evaluated. It's completely done. You can try this next one on your own. If you haven't written it down or if you haven't tried, go ahead. And you can see the solution when you unpause. Now I have g equals 3 for 8 minus g. So g is 3, so I'm going to substitute 3, the value of 3 for g. Done. It's fairly simple, but the things we're going to be doing next week, we're going to be having missing values for variables, and we're going to solve those. 6h when h equals 4. I don't know if boys and girls remember what to do when the variable is right next to the coefficient or the number next to it. What do we do then? We multiply 6h, so it's 6 times h, and h equals 4. So you can write this several ways. You could just write 6 times 4 like this. I'll write it a different way in the next few practice problems, different ways. So you can see the multiple ways that you can write this, but 6 times 4, of course, equals 24. H is 4. This is 6 times h, 6 times 4, 24. Pause if you need to, solve the next one, try to solve it. 3t plus 1 when t equals 2. Substitute 2 for t. And this one, I'm going to write the multiplication differently. Remember, we can write it in a parentheses right next to the number. So I'm substituting t equals 2, so there's the t, or 2. 3 times 2 plus 1. 3 times 2, I'm sure you know, is 6 plus 1 equals 7. Now we've got 4 plus 3f when f equals 2. Jot these next few down. Pause if you need to. Get them down. 4 plus 3f. Of course, the variable's right next to the coefficient. It's multiplying again. F equals 2. First, I'm going to write my equation. Or 3. I prefer the parentheses. Some of you might prefer the multiplication sign. I prefer parentheses. 3 times 2. And, of course, 3 times 2 is 6. So we're going to use order of operations. I forgot to mention that on this one, too. Always order of operations still apply. You have to do the multiplication before you do the addition. 4 plus 6 equals 10. Try and complete this one if you can. while it's paused, or if you can do it before I share it right now. 10 minus 2p when p equals 1. So p equals 1. I'm going to rewrite my expression with the value. 10 minus 2 times 1. So it's really going to be 10 minus 2. And put equals 8. And we've got a fraction here. Remember, all fraction are division problems. So 8 over t, when t equals 2. So it's really going to be 8 halves. So 8 halves. And then we know that this is division, so it's really saying 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So I'm going to write that there. And this is just a note. Six n when n equals 3, once again it's division. I'm going to substitute the value 3 for n. 6 really ends up being 6/3. 6 divided by 3 equals 2. A little more complicated here. 12 over m plus 4 when m equals 3. So I'm going to substitute 3 plus 4. 12/3. 12 divided by 3 is 4, so it ends up being 4 plus 4 equals 8. Once again, substitute a value for e. The value is 2, so I'm going to rewrite it. 20 minus 10 over 2. It's 10 halves. That's really going to be 10 divided by 2. 20 minus 5. I'm going to show you a way that I was taught this in algebra in middle school probably. And I've been writing the answer next to this. It felt kind of weird, but I felt that's what you would understand. To me, the way the answer should be written after this, 20 minus 5, the answer should be underneath because I'm doing step by step and I'm going down as I complete a step. So 20 minus 5, this is further evaluated to be 15. So I've got the next expression, 4q minus 3 when q equals 5. So of course this is multiplication. I will rewrite it if it is 4 times 5, q is 5, minus 3, of course, order of operations, I do the multiplication first. 4 times 5 is 20, minus 3 stays the same, 20 minus 3, just like back in algebra in middle school, Mr. Parker's going to write 17 down here. And last but not least, 8l minus 6 when l equals 5. That's 8. I prefer parentheses times 5 minus 6. Order of operations, I'll do multiplication first. 8 times 5 is 40. Subtract 6. Still, because I didn't do anything with that yet. Once I subtract 6, I get 34. And that's my answer. All right, good luck. I'll put the con assignment on there and have a great weekend.